Hello there guys, in this video we're going to look at Axios in ReactJS. So I thought about doing a tutorial on API using React, and I've also done a React crash course, so you might want to check that one within my YouTube channel. But in this video we're going to look at Axios in ReactJS. So now, what is Axios? Axios is it's a package that can be installed in ReactJS, and what it does, it is a promised HTTP package that renders, for example, HTTP request on a browser, and you are able to receive responses depending on the HTTP request you are trying to do. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Alright, so let's get started. So you're going to do some requests within our application, and then we're going to use an external API, or in other words an endpoint, and then you're able to get a particular request from a particular API. Alright guys, now what you can do here is that now when we go to this website here that is called JSON place order typecode.com. Now this one is where we are going to do our HTTP request, and this is just a fake resource that you can use to test your that is a free fake REST API. So it gives us an API whereby we are able to test different API for particular different resources. So for example, you can do for post. So let's say you are creating a blog which has post and so forth. So before you do that activity, let's say for example you're using a framework like Laravel for the backend. So that means you can make the API and then create the post within your particular backend, and then be able to use a front-end framework like React or Vue, and then be able to do those such requests like you can see. So you can request, for example, post. So that means, for example, here, so here I can do request for posts like that, and then here I'll be presented with all the posts. Now, so this is just the JSON format of any particular API that you are trying to request. So here you can request, for example, for user ID, the ID of the post, the title, the body, and so forth. So this is what you can do with APIs, and APIs are very good, especially when you want to use external data or remote data. For example, if it's a that API, that is, or just within your backend, but you want to use a front-end framework so that you can avoid things such as loading of the page, and to make your website more robust and more and to reduce all that laggishness that you may find within websites. So okay, so let's just get started. So the first thing we'll do is to install React, and I've already installed React within my VS Code. So I'm using VS Code. So it's very simple. So here you just need to have this command. Just have npx create app demo, create app, and then the name of the app. So I'll leave my website, that is a web dev trainee, so that you're able to follow up. I've also done this tutorial. I've written it on webdevtrainee.com, and also I have many other tutorials, so you may want to go and check that. I've written all the instructions that you need to do so that you can have React installed. But it's very simple. You just need to run this command, and then now once you run this command, you just go to cd my app, and then it will take you to the particular app. and my app means the demo app. So here I would have like something like cd demo app, like that. And then once that is done, you just need to run the npm start so that you can have your React running. Now once that is done, the next thing we want to do is to install Axios, because the one that we are going to use. So to install Axios on Windows, we are going to have npm install npm install Axios, like that, and then Axios will be installed. Now I already have it installed within my package JSON. This is the one I've already installed, should be the latest one, and other dependencies. Alright, so so that is out of the way. Now let's see how we can perform get request. For example, let's see, for example, how can we render such data within our application. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to render different get, post, delete, add, and so forth that you may find in any CRUD applications. So that's what I'm going to show you, and this you are going to be using Axios. So for example, let's just open this website and let's see some what we are going to be dealing with here. So you can see here we have just installed Axios, and then we can also install it using different commands depending on the operating system you're using. So in this case, I've just used the first one because I'm using the Node package manager. Now here as we have said, Axios is this. So this is just the definition. It is a promise-based HTTP client, and mostly can be used for Node.js, but we can use it for other platforms. So we have the Axios API that we can use to request any. So for example, this would be an endpoint to request, for example, a user with a particular ID, and then that user data will, okay, the user has this particular ID, and since you are doing a post request, that means you want to post particular data. So this data will be just posted such as it is, and so forth. We can also do other requests. We can also handle errors within our Axios, and you can also request config and do cancellation and so many other stuff you can do within our Axios. But what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to do simple but effective things that you can use within your API. So the first thing here, I'm going to make a folder here. So I'm going to run this command mkdir, and within the mkdir, within the source here, I'm going to make a folder, the title components, like that. So here I'm just going to make, I've made that folders. Now this folder is going to have our different files that I'm going to use within my React, so that we can do some of these requests. So here within the components, I'm going to make a file here called post.js, and then within the post.js here, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to render such data within our application. So far we have our application, it's not running, but I'm going to run it, but I want us to have this data within our application. So that's what I'm going to do. Now some of this code, I'm not going to write all of it so that we can just move fast, but I'll explain as we continue. Now here I have post.js, and this is the code that I'm going to have within my post.js. Now here, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to have I'm going to import Axios, and also I'm going to import React, and then here I'm going to extend the post, that is the post that we have already here, that is the post.js, extends the React component, and then the state here is going to have an empty array, so that is going to receive the array, that is whatever, when we request the particular post within this particular URL, and then we are going to be presented with this particular data, that is this data here that you can see here. So what it does here is just the same thing that I just done here. You can see I just went and typed this one /post, and it gave me all this information. So the same thing we are also doing here, although now we are presenting it in our application. So here I'm also doing a catch, so as to catch any errors that are within this that may pop up within this application. So this one is just going to do a request, and then it's going to, if there's no any response, a particular information should be submitted and so forth. And then lastly here I'm going to render as such whatever I want. So I'm using the .map function. Now these ones I've discussed them in a tutorial called JavaScript Advanced Array Methods, where I've discussed the use of maps and so forth. So here we are just using map, and then here I'm getting the post ID and then the post title of this post. So it means that here I'm not going to get all this information. I'm only going to get the title of every post within this particular API. So just the title only, like this. Alright guys, so I am doing this hoping you are not new to React, so at least you have a foundation of React, and if you need to learn React, already have a tutorial on the same. Now so here I'm going to run the here I'm going to have the npm start. Let's start this application. Oh sorry, so this command is should be n. Okay, now before we do that, there's something I've forgotten that we need to do. Now within our app.js, we need to update whatever we have just, because we have made within the components, we have made the post.js. So now within the app.js, I need to update the app.js with particular code here. So now this is the code that I need to update. Now what I'm doing here, okay, so what I'm doing here is that within the app, remember the app is the file that we run our particular application, so that it is rendered here on our browser. So what I'm doing, I'm importing the components, the file that is the components here, and then the React, and then here I'm running the function which is as the class name of app, and then we are calling the post, which should be this one here within the post. That is here you can see we have here the class post. So that is what we are doing. And then I've forgotten, since this one is post, this one needs to be post and so forth. So that is since we have post and then post.js, and then now we are good to go, because this is what is going to enable us to render our application. In other words, by running npm start. So here should be, so this is npm start. So this is going to start our application. Okay, so now our application is running, and you can see now what we have here. We have the titles, just as showed you. So what we are doing here, we are just getting this title. So when you look at this title here, it is the same as this one here. So that is what we are doing. So so within this API here, what we are doing, we are just getting the title. Sorry, yeah, we are requesting the endpoint, but then what we are doing here, we are just getting the title, that is post ID with the post title and so forth. Now you can also go ahead and get, for example, the body, the user ID and so forth, but I'll just show you for the post title here. Now the next thing, now remember that one. So what we have done here, if I would comment this one, so what we have done here is performing the post request like that. So here we are just performing sorry, not the post request, here we are performing the get request. So because we are trying to do get, that is, we are trying to get the post, so we are performing a get request here. So now let's do a post request here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm also going to make another folder here, and I'm going to call it add post.js like that. And so here I'm just going to also have this code here, and what I'm doing, I'm just doing the same thing here. I'm importing React and Axios, and then here what I'm going to do, post request means that I want to do a post, like I want to add a particular data within our application using the API, that is from the API. So I'm having a form here. I've done all these things in React crash course, so you may want to go and check that one. But here we are using two functions here. So we have the first one here, which is undo submit and undo change. So the undo change, or let me start with the undo submit. So what the undo submit does, it prevents the default submission of the form, like the form will not be submitted automatically. So that is what it does, and then that's why I'm calling it here, to prevent that. And then we have the change for the event, and the event is when you get to add a title, or you get to add a title within our post. Okay, so what we are going to do here, we are going to add a post within our application here. So here we have the ID of 100, so we are going to have an ID of 101 when we get to add a particular title within our post here, right? So as I've said, we have that form, and the form is here, and then it has the button to add, and then the undo change is just to detect the event of when a particular, whenever you add the title within our application. So I'm going to save that one, and then now here you're just going to come here and record this. So here I'm going to have import, and then we are going to have add post.js, and then here I'm going to do this. So I'm going to add the add posts like that. Let me see, this error is coming. Okay, so this is not that. This should be, yes, should be add posts like that, and then we save this. Yeah, and then we are good to go. So we just need to run the npm start, and then, but it has already been compiled. Let's see if there is any error. So there is none. So I hope you guys are following and you're able to understand what you are doing. So it's just something that is easy. So just take note of the, okay, I had not explained the endpoint. So the endpoint here is going to go to the post, but then here what you are doing is that we are requesting for it to add a single post within our application. And then, as I've said, now here So here what we are doing here, so here I'm performing the post request like that. So that's what I'm doing here. So here I'm performing a post request. Okay, let's see if there's anything happening here. So let's go to inspect and let's see. Alright guys, so now what we are doing here, I'm going to add this post. I'm going to add a title and I'm going to call it, for example, let's say Laravel, for example, since I love the framework. So now I've just clicked add. So what we need to go to inspect, and then within the inspect we're going to see something here. So you can see here there's already an object that has been added here. So that tells you that here we can see here the ID. You can see where we have the data post. So the ID is 101, and then the post title that has been added is Laravel, and other information that we are able to see here. For example, the status is 201 and so forth. So here that tells you here, when you come back here, you can see here we had ID of 100, but now here we have 101. That tells us that we have been able to successfully add a particular title within our API. And that's how you do it within your application. If you are doing you are making a CRUD application, for example, and you are able to do that is, you're able to add such you're able to do such CRUD functionality. Now the next thing here within the components, I'm going to create another one here, so that is to delete post. So I'm going to delete post.js. So here I'm going to have that code here, and then now within this code here, what I'm doing is that I'm doing the same thing here, but then here we have an event, this .state, and what it does here, it is just recording whatever we are going to change. For example, here I'm going to do an event to delete post. So I'm going to get the post ID, and then I delete the particular post. So the undo submit, as we said, is to prevent the default submission of the form. And then here we have the button to delete, and then we have the API, that is the endpoint. So what I'm doing here, I'm requesting this .state.id so that I'm able to delete the particular post within my application. So we are just using the state, and then using the state we are going to get the post ID, and then we are able to delete. Now console response data is just going to give us the status of when we make the HTTP request within our application. Alright guys, so now here I'll just save this, and then here I just need to come and record this because we are making different components. So here you just need to update this one with the delete, and as well this one also going to do the same thing. So hope you guys are following. Then here we need to have this one placed here. So we are going to do that. Alright guys, so now it has detected, and then now here we are now able to delete a post. So now we should have another form that has the delete. So let me see if we are, yes. So now this one is going to enable us to delete the post ID. So it will enable us to delete the post ID and so forth. So here what I'm going to do here, you just need to indicate the ID. So for example, if it is 1, I'm going to click delete, and then let's go to inspect. Yes, so just come to the console and inspect here. So here you can see there's a detection of the object here, and what we have been able to do, we have just deleted the first post and the status is 200. That means it's okay. So the event was successful. So you can see now the delete post has just deleted the particular post with the post ID of 1. You can go ahead and do for many, even you can delete 100 and so forth. So basically when you're doing a CRUD application, that is what you'll be able to make, and be able to update, delete, add post, and get and so forth using an API. So that is what this particular code section does. Now the last thing I want us to check before I wind up this video is how to use a base URL. That is how to use a base instance in Axios. And when you talk about a base instance in Axios, we are talking about using a single URL defined within a particular file, and then we are able to get that URL within all our particular files within our React. So as you can see here, we have had to write this particular URL in every post here. You can see here we also have this one, and as well we also have delete posts, and then we also have the post. So we want to avoid this and just have one URL as a base instance. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to create a new file within the source. So here I'm going to create a file and name it api.js. Now api.js is within our source folder, and then within here I'm going to update it with this code. Now you can see here what I'm having here is that I'm having this code here whereby I'm importing Axios from Axios, and then I'm using an export default Axios, create this base URL. Now this base URL is the one that we know we have within our, so it should be this one here. So now this one, and then when you append whichever endpoint that you want to get, it's going to, we are now able to get whichever endpoint that we want within this particular JSON placeholder, that is. So I'm going to save this one, then I'm going to show you something. Now this post.js, you just need to update it with this particular code, because I want just to show you for now. You can see here I'm importing the API from the API, and then here okay, so here we are going to do this. Okay, let me see. So now here we are importing this API, which is this one here, and then we are saying dot get then post. So you can see here we are just appending the, let's go back to the api.js. So within the api.js you can see here we are just appending this like this, see. But since we are using a base URL, we don't need to do that. We just need to come here and just give that one instead of copying the whole URL. In other words, we are just trying to make things easier within our API, and this one is highly recommended that you do it this way, so as to avoid repetition of coding, repeating code. And okay, so and then here this is just to catch whichever error that we have within our application. If the request does not get, if there is no response, for example, we are able to handle such error. And then here it's just simple, we are just getting the title as we were doing before, so there's nothing new here. Okay, and then it's just the post to receive the the array from our particular endpoint. And then remember, there's something I did not talk about since the start of the tutorial. We are using this function component data amount, so as to initialize our data and be able to load it, or it will be rendered within our application. Okay, so now if I come back here, you can see there's nothing that has changed. We still have the same endpoint, which is still the same as this one. That is, we are getting the title of the post. Okay, so now, so I just wanted to show you how you can use a base URL. You just need to come and define a file of whichever you define, and then just have the base URL somewhere like here, and then you just need to come and do for the rest. So it means even for this one here, what you just need to come and do, for example here, you just come here and take this one out like this, and then you just need to have so here you just need to have search like this. So this is just what you need to have like this. So what it does here, it will just come and pick this one and then slash the post, yeah, slash the post, and then it's going ahead and perform the get request. The same thing you're also going to do for this one here. Since this one it has even a slash, so that means here, that is within the delete, what you can do here, you can take out this one, and I think you can remain with that one just like that. So hope you guys are getting the idea. Okay, so so let me show you one more thing here, how to use the async and await. Is very important concept for you to understand, because when we are dealing with APIs, you're going to, and you're using a framework such as React or even the Vue, you're going to find that it's very important for you to get to know this concept. Now when you come to this documentation here, they also do explain some a bit of let's see, for example, we have Axios instance, and then we also have the, okay, let's say handling errors. Let's see that if it's there. Should be here. I found it somewhere. Okay, so if it's not there, it is there, but you just need to come and check within this particular documentation. But what async does is that, I'm talking about async and await. I don't think those are new concepts to you. If you have checked in one of my YouTube videos, you find I've done JavaScript advanced array methods, where I've discussed about async and await. Async keyword, let's come to this one here. So I'm talking about async like this. Async and await. Now what they does is that what this particular two keywords does, they are placed before a function, and what they does is that they make a function to return a promise. In other words, what we're talking about here is that you are able to request a response, but async and await will enable you to either have a response, or the response could be there or it could be rejected. So that is what async and await does. So it can be used before a function, and what we can do here, for example, component int amount is a function, so we can use the async somewhere there. And then what we can do here, we can okay, so we have it there, and then we can have something like since we are using this one, we can have something like const response like this, and then equals to api.getPost, and then here we also have the response data. Now we are going to avoid the use of the dot then, so I'm going to take this one here, and then here I'm going to avoid this one, and then we're just going to use this dot state, and then let's remove that one as well. For this try catch, let me remove it for now, but remember we can still use it. I'll show you how we can use it within our application. So I'll just remove that one like that. Now here what we can have, for example, console dot log, and then the response, and as well we can also have the log dot response dot data. In other words, we just want to get the response dot data that is within our application, and then here we're going to have that like that, and then we can save this, and let's see if it means there is res is not defined. So here we have the const response get. So if we are using the async before a function, I'd forgotten, we now use the await, so as to get the post, and then here we have the const post, and then the response data. I think this one, let me give it in a full like that, and then the post, and then here we have the response, and then we have the response data, and so forth. So let me see if, yeah, so that's how we use async and await. So it's for it to return a promise. So what it will do, it will wait, and then it will now render the particular data within our application. You can see here when we reload this, nothing has changed, so we are still getting the JSON data. Okay guys, so that is async and await, and then it showed you we can also use the try. So for example, if you also want to handle errors within the async and await, so what you can do here, you can just come here and just do the try and catch. So just within here, and then where we have the end in here, you can just do the catch. So you can do the catch of sorry, not console, I'm just going to be catch. So here we have something like that, and then we have here, we can have something like undo error. So we're going to undo whichever error that comes within our application, and then we have console.log, and then here is here we have that, and this is not correct. Here we have something like that, and then here we're going to have one more of that. Maybe to format this is to push it somewhere there. So alright guys, so now that is how you can handle errors, well, if you are using async and await, and I think we are good to go. Yeah, so everything is still working good. So that is how you can use async and await in our application and be able to handle whichever error that comes in. So guys, this is the tutorial for today. So let me meet you in the next video. So subscribe and comment. Let me hear your comment. It's very important. Like this video and share it with your friends.